Hey guys, it's Sara Oehler here with Softflex Company. I'm doing a Softflex Live Design Challenge here at our home office in Sonoma, California. And today I'm going to be featuring one of my favorite companies, Dakota Stones. We've known Dakota Stones for a very long time and they've been wonderful friends to everyone in our company. So we're really excited to show you some of their products. So they're a wholesale only company. You can go to their website and learn a bunch of different things, and that website is Dakota, D-A-K-O-T-A, Stones, STONES.com. There's inspiration there. There's lots of good information about a variety of gemstones. However, they do not sell on their website, but you can pick up their beads at lots and lots of different retailers online, and I'm sure if you do a Google search you'll find that there are many options out there, from goodie beads to art beads. You'll just have to kind of look around and see who your favorite vendor is that carries Dakota Stones. One of the things that makes Dakota Stones really stand out is they have very high quality beads. They also are very careful to make sure that every single bead on the strand can be used. And they also make sure that the drill holes are decent on the beads. And so you don't have those situations where you get a strand of beads and you've got several beads where, you know, they've drilled in the center and it's so wonky you can't actually even get a wire through it. So they really pay attention to those kinds of details. They are based out of Minnesota, but they work through China, and they get all sorts of different kinds of beads that they bring into the US and sell to all of us. So I'm really excited to see what's in their package today, and we're definitely going to make something fun. I'm going to try to use our Softflex craft wire today. A lot of people don't realize that Softflex doesn't just make beading wire. We actually make lots of beautiful craft wire as well. And this is on sale on our website this week. It's 20% off with coupon code CRAFTWIRE. And so I'm going to showcase some of that so you guys can kind of see what makes that special. It is a copper-based wire, and then it has a color coating, enamel coating. It's non-tarnishing in most cases, except for bare copper, which doesn't have a coating on it. And it comes in tons and tons of different colors, and then a variety of different gauges. So I am excited to work with that today too, since I tend to definitely stay more on the beading wire side of things. It'll be fun to explore some craft wire options. This necklace was created by my old coworker and someone I wrote a book with too, Jamie Hogsett. She was the founding editor of Stringing magazine, and she helped me write Show Your Colors, which is actually right above my head here, which you can still get copies from the Softflex Company website, but it's out of print now. It's about 5 years old. But this particular necklace isn't in the book. This is a free project idea on our website, www.softflexcompany.com, and maybe Kristen, you can grab a link and post that for everybody. So I'm going to flip you guys down. I'd just like to encourage you as you watch the video, if you like what you're seeing, if you're enjoying the video, please do share and like our videos. That helps other people that are out there looking for beading videos to find us, and I really appreciate all of those shares and likes. And if you get a chance, head on over to Dakota Stones. They're linked in the video title, and you can like their page as well and keep up with them as a company and see what new products they're coming out with, the new stones they're offering. And I think they actually offer some cuts that other companies don't offer. So that's a good way to kind of keep on top of what's going on with Dakota Stones too. Thanks for the link, Kristen. I appreciate that. And I think this was Mystical. It's done with the Mystical Trio, but it's really one of my favorite necklaces. It's so pretty. Jamie has a really good eye for unusual designs. Hi, Birgit. Is it Birgit? I want to make sure I'm pronouncing it right. It almost looks like Bridget, but You probably pronounce it differently in Germany. Great to see you too, Teresa. Thanks everybody for being here. I'm gonna flip you down and we're gonna start opening our box from Dakota Stones. Let me grab the box here. Look, they wrapped it really nicely. It looks really pretty. It's a nice big box. We'll see what's in here and make something fun. This is my favorite. Okay, so I'm gonna flip you guys down and adjust. Here's some of my craft wire. I have that big box of craft wire. And I decided I should grab some out so I don't have to rifle through quite as much as I would sometimes. Here's the craft wire code. Oh, Birgit, I'm glad I said it right. My last name is Oehler, O-E-H-L-E-R. It's German, and nobody can ever say it right. So you never know when it comes from a different country if you've got it right or not. Okay, so, ooh, there's Dakota Stones. Welcome. They're saying we have tons of exclusive. That's why being a bead manufacturer is fun, fun, fun. It is. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to start unwrapping this big, beautiful box. And we are going to get started. Let's see. This is their card. Ethically made from mind to design. Exciting. Yeah, I think I just saw you had like a new kind of cut on your gemstones. I wish I would have written down what it was called, but it was really beautiful. Rochelle says, love Dakota Stones. Yeah, who doesn't? And who doesn't want to use this beautiful cord that they tied my box with? I mean, that alone could make a really cool piece. All right, let me get my scissors. We're cutting it open. See what we have in here. Let's see, we got a note. And yeah, we got a few things. Okay, picked out some of our design favorites for you to play with. Aqua Impression Jasper is a fantastic substitute for pricey turquoise. Plus, a composite, it's not so scary soft, Mohs-wise. So she's talking about the Mohs hardness scale. If you guys are brand new to beading, there is a scale that kind of tells you if something's hard or soft. And if it's on the soft end, it'll break or crack really easily, whereas if it's on the harder end, it's going to be a lot more durable for being worn in jewelry. Yeah, Dakota says we're all about ethical sourcing and production, which is really important in this world today. And like I said, when you really pay attention to the details, it really helps me as a designer to be able to buy a strand of beads and know that I'll be able to use every single bead on that strand and that they're drilled properly so I can actually put the right diameter of soft flex inside of them so I don't have a lot of breakage. So I really love that. And same with craft wire too. You want a thicker gauge of craft wire usually. And sometimes beads that are not sourced really well will have these itty bitty holes and it's really hard to work with them. Okay, so also threw in some plated hematite just for fun. We love these spacers instead of base metal. Face it, the metal plating isn't always great, or sterling gold filled, which can be expensive. We literally had to take a coarse nail file and rub to mar the finish. Enjoy. Love Dakota Stones. Awesome. Very exciting. So let's see. So I assume if you want to learn more about this product and about how they source their products, you're going to go to their website, which is www.dakotastones.com. Like I said, they're wholesale only, so you are going to have to source their beads from somewhere else, but there are lots of options. Two that I know off the top of my head are art beads and goodie beads, but there's lots. I'm sure if you Google it, you'll find a list of people that are... Oh, look at these, you guys. These are gorgeous. So they said this is Aqua Impression Jasper. So it's more affordable than a really expensive or pricey turquoise, but it has that beautiful turquoise color. And then it has sort of like little gold flecks running through it, and then a little bit of brown down here, which is really nice. It sounds like it's an excellent substitute for turquoise. And as a composite, it's not going to be so soft that it scratches or breaks really easily, which is good. So we've got a couple different options here. We've got some smaller rounds, and then we've got a little bit of a bigger sized round. And then we've got some rondelles with some really nice faceting. And then we've got some dangles. Look at these guys. These are really cool. Those are awesome. I love them. And it looks like they're graduated too. So they go from really short to longer in the middle. Really nice. So on these live videos, at the beginning, there aren't a lot of people, so I do take some time to talk. If you're watching this on replay, you can always fast forward it to the actual part where we are making beadwork. But the beginning of these can go a little slow for those of you who don't want to listen to a lot of talking. Thanks, Dawn. You don't have to defend me. It's okay. I understand. I'm not for everybody. So these are really cool. They're squares with a hole in the center. They're really beautiful, shiny, and they almost, even though it says they're, let's see, it says they are plated hematite. They look a lot like the rose gold silver plated soft flex craft wire that I just pulled out. So that's going to be really fun to work with these with this wire, I think. That's a really pretty color. I could also see it looking really pretty with this dark blue soft flex craft wire. This is just called blue, but it's like a really pretty dark blue color. I think that could be really lovely. Or if you're going into more of a fall, you could do some browns and it would look really lovely too. Okay, so, and I think that is it in the specs, right? There's lots of good padding, so nothing got broken, which is awesome. And we are going to open this up and make a few things, I think. I also have these really pretty, I have some of these guys that I had been setting aside for a project that could look really pretty mixed in here. I think these are glass pearls. Yeah, I think these are glass pearls. They're in the bins out there that we've been doing discounts on. Let me see what else I have that could be. Ooh, and I have these guys too, the square dells that kind of match it. Those could be kind of cool. So I'm going to grab those and we will get started. So I have a pair of chain nose and round nose and a pair of cutters, and I am going to pull all of this off. And let's see what kind of cool stuff we can put together here. So I know I've shown you guys how to make a basic wire wrap, but let's do that just for anybody that's new. Get my trays out here. Let me open these up. Open this up. I use just about anything to contain beads, you guys. This is a box. They go everywhere, and if you're not careful, it's all over. So I'm gonna open these all up just so we have them all available to us. Rochelle says she's been using more plated hematite as spacers and uses the impression jasper frequently. Nice. There we go. Okay. We'll open these. These are just such pretty colors, you guys. This turquoise color. I mean, I'm a huge turquoise color fan to begin with, as all of you know who watch me regularly. I love, love, love turquoise. Okay. And we'll do this. This is my favorite, these ones here at the bottom. These are we're gonna have to do at least one soft flex necklace with these because they would just look fantastic with just a simple strand of soft flex. And I'm gonna kind of keep these ones together because they are graduated and that'll make it a little easier when we get to that. So we're gonna do that design last because I know exactly what I'm doing with that one. But let's do a couple of wire wraps just so we can make like a basic bracelet. And I think I'm going to use this beautiful rose gold color to start, and we'll just do some basic wire wrapping so you can see what that looks like, and then we'll move on from there. So I'm using a 22 gauge today. I will test it and see if the 20 gauge will fit through as well, just because that's good to know when you go to buy these beads, if you're able to use a thicker gauge or not. It's kind of nice. So one thing I like to do when I take my craft wire off the spool, I'm going to reach over and get my nylon jaw pliers. I like to run my nylon jaw pliers over the top of it, and that just gets any of those kinks or bumps out of the wire that might be there just from being spooled for so long. Or if I had made something and decided I didn't like it, I could also use the nylon jaw pliers to pull the wire free. So nylon jaw pliers are pretty awesome, and they have these nylon tips. You can see I've used these a lot that just rub over the surface and they make everything smooth. So lots of different people make wire wrap loops in different ways. I'm going to show you the way that I like to make them, but I understand there's probably plenty of other ways out there to do the same process. But sometimes seeing someone else do it is helpful just to get an idea of how you can make it easier on yourself. So I hold the wire with my left hand, I'm a righty, and I stick the wire between my two round nose pliers, or inside my round nose pliers. I bend the wire so that it's pointing towards me and also creating a 90-degree angle. And then I take my two fingers on my left hand, still holding on to the wire, and I pull the wire up over the top of my round nose, creating half of my loop on this side. And then I switch. So I was down here with my plier. I switch to the side, and this way I can continue to pull the wire entirely under my loop so that I can get a full circle. And then I usually put down my round nose pliers and I pick up my chain nose pliers so that I can wrap this around the base. Now, some people like to wrap really tightly, with each link being really right next to the last one. There are times where I find that it looks really nice, and I like to do that too. Some people are really specific about doing, 2 loops on each side. I can also be really messy, and sometimes I enjoy, having sort of a messy loop and having it look handmade because everything I make is handmade. So I don't mind if it's not, exactly perfect. But that's how I've found I can make a really nice, very simple loop to connect to something. So on the other side, I'm going to give myself plenty of wire leeway. and I'm gonna trim. So I'm probably like 3 inches. I normally probably wouldn't go this long, but because I'm on a video, I usually try to give myself like a little extra space just in case something happens. So one of the things that that can happen is when you string your bead on, sometimes you'll find that it'll actually have such a big hole that it'll slide over the top of your links. Because this is a gemstone, you know, that's a lot less likely to happen. But look at the size of this hole, you guys. Like usually when you're working with gemstones, you do not get this generous of a size of a hole in the bead. So that is really handy because there are some gemstones out there, especially like a really nice turquoise, where you're not going to have that kind of wiggle room inside of your bead. Cindy says, I learned wire loops from you. Oh, that's nice. Oh, Rochelle says her way works, my way works best. Nice. I'm glad to hear that, guys. So I'm going to make another loop on the other side of this guy, and you can see it fits up against that just so nicely. I really like how it looks. So on the other side, I'm just going to kind of eye it out. I want to leave enough space that I can wrap about the same amount on each side of the bead. So I am going to, again, turn my wire so it's pointed towards me, wrap around the top. I'm going to come in from the side and about at the same place on my plier too, because you'll see this is graduated. So if you go further down, you're going to make bigger loops. If you go higher up, you're going to make smaller loops. And if you're working on the same piece and you want it to look uniform on both sides, you're going to go to about the same place on the pliers. And then I'm going to pull around again. Come in with my chain nose. Dakota Stones says, we laser drill smooth and consistent, more expensive to produce, but far better results. Yeah, having a hole in your bead that you can string the appropriate diameter of beading wire or gauge of craft wire is really important if you want your design to last a long time. So even though you may pay a little bit more for the beads, you will not have to worry about replicating the design if it breaks, especially if you do any selling. You don't want to have to use a thinner gauge of wire, thinner diameter of wire, and then have it snap and break, because that is no bueno. Okay, so we've got a really great start there, and we're going to connect one now, and I'll just connect, maybe we'll do earrings like this here, and then we can make a little ear wire or something. So I'm going to go ahead and make my second piece here. So I've got my rose gold silver plated 22 gauge Softflex craft wire. I'm going to loosen up a little more again, just keep getting more wire out here, and start with my same step. I'm going to run my nylon jaw pliers over the wire, cleaning it up. Make sure if you like the beads that you're seeing here that you go to the Dakota Stones Facebook page and like them so you can keep up with all of their updates and new products and things they have coming out. And you can also learn lots of things on their website. I was noticing they have a knowledge center. They have a variety of different stone types. You can learn about the different stones that they're manufacturing. And then also they have a featured designer section, which was really interesting. So on this one, I went ahead and made my circle just like we have before, but I'm actually going to open it up just a little bit this way. So there's lots of stuff on Dakota Stone's website to learn about too. And then going to wrap. So I've got I want to just straighten that out just a little bit so it looks right. And Dawn says, does each side need to be facing in the same direction? I tend to face them in the same direction, but some people love to face them in opposite directions. I haven't found that it makes a difference, really. So don't feel like you have to do one or the other. I think it's just kind of a personal preference thing, in my opinion. I'm going to take my cutters and slide them in. These are Softflex cutters, and even though they were made with the specifications of beading wire, I use them on my craft wire too, and have never had any issues because they're so strong. Right, so we've got our connection. Let me show you guys. We're connected here. Our two loops are connected. And yeah, I did the same side. I tend to do that when I make a connection, but I know some people do like to do one way and then the other way, and they feel like that makes it lay more nicely. But I just haven't found that to be the case. So I usually just do the same direction. Okay, so we're gonna put on the bigger bead here on the bottom. Now if you're making like a pair of earrings and this is your last bead and you wanna dangle, what I normally do if I'm using craft wire, not like a head pin, and a head pin is like a nail, it has a little thing at the bottom and then a straight pin at the top. If I'm not using a head pin, I like to wrap the wire up and around the bead, and then I come up and around that same base. So I'm just spinning the bead and wrapping, and this is where it might look a little messy, but it usually looks really nice too. Don't you guys agree that looks decent, right? So I'm gonna trim off my wire. You can also make a really fun shape down there, and maybe we can do that on another one. And I like to tuck in that end piece because especially if it's like an ear wire, you don't want it to get caught on someone's hair and pull their hair out. So here's a real simple start, and I'm gonna do one more here at the top, and then I'll do the second earring off camera, and we'll worry about doing a necklace with these gorge guys here. Okay, so let's open this up a little bit more. So Dakota Stones is a wholesale company, supplier, and brand of semi-precious gemstones. They provide top quality semi-precious gemstone beads and unique cuts for creative jewelry designers and artists. And like I said at the beginning, they're based in Minneapolis, Minnesota, which I love Minnesota. I got to go there with my husband. Oh, I don't know. What was that? Evelyn was a baby, so it was probably like 3 years ago. And I just had such a nice time there. People there are so nice. It's just really beautiful. It was during the summer, so I imagine during the winter maybe it's not as as fun, but it was gorgeous. It was so green and just really lovely. The people were all really nice. But I digress. They also have offices in China and do 30 plus trade shows annually. So there's a good chance that they'll be at a city near you. And I would guess, you guys at Dakota Stones, do you have a trade show event calendar that you can post for everybody so that they can see when you'll be near them? Let's see. Trim. So I got my first side. This is what I'll hook on to my ear wire. And I'm going to string my bead, and then I will do my second side and actually connect this. Oh, great. So Dakota Stones just posted a show list. So that's a great way for you to find out if they're going to be somewhere near you where you can actually go check them out. Hey, Lydia, nice that you can join us. We are working with Dakota Stones today, and they sent us this awesome, look at the coloring on that, you guys. They sent us this awesome aqua impression jasper. It's really pretty, and it comes in several different sizes. And then like this one has a beautiful faceting on it as well. And I love that it's, I love like sort of matte toned beads, not like super sparkly, but it still has like the faceting, so it's got just that touch of sparkle. I love that. Okay, so let me clip this. And I haven't made a little ear wire with just my round nose pliers, but I've been wanting to try and see what it would be like. You know, because I've made ear wires on the wig jig, which we no longer carry, and the wobbers, which we no longer carry. So now I'm down to making ear wires with my round nose pliers. But I'm curious to see if it'll work out. Maybe it won't, but you know, that's what this show is all about. Testing out the products and seeing what happens. Oops. So I'm still using the rose gold silver plated 22 gauge. And this time, since I'm not sure how this is going to work out, I am going to go ahead and just clip my wire off. With an ear wire, you want 2 flush cuts on both sides. So I'm going to start off with a flush cut using the flat side of my cutters on this side. And I am going to make my first little loop. I'll probably make it about the same size as the loops I was making for the earring itself. Let's see, 82 degrees in Jacksonville, Florida. Ooh, nice. Yeah, what's the weather like in Minnesota? I imagine it is pretty chilly. Pretty chilly. So this time, like I said, this is a graduated cylinder in your round nose pliers. So I'm going to go down as far down as I can so I can get the biggest loop possible. And we'll see if this can actually work. And I just lined this little P shape up next to my plier. I think this is going to be a pretty little ear wire, but it might actually still work. We'll see. So we've got our little ear wire shape, and I am just going to make it kind of long. So we've got kind of a long shape, and then I'll just do the little bend in it, and that just kind of helps it keep it inside your ear. And I made it longer just because I don't want it to just easily slide out because it is so small. But isn't it nice that you can match your ear wire to your craft wire so it makes like a complete design? And all of you that got those really great wubbers when we had them discounted, they're a great way to make ear wires for your jewelry. So here we go. We've got our basic earring using all 3 different sizes of this beautiful aqua impression jasper from Dakota Stones. And now we're going to move on to a really fun necklace design that I have started working out in my head with these guys. And this time I'm going to use some soft wax because I think it'll be really pretty. Especially I think I still have my Serenity trio that we used last 2 weeks ago with Tiara Cast that has our green turquoise, our fluorite, and our bone. And I think all of these colors will work so nicely with this design. And I could definitely see the bone being like a really lovely contrast. So I'm going to grab that out. Sue's asking, do you ever use a burr cup on the end? I absolutely do, Sue, and we sell those on our website as well. A burr cup is like a little file that fits on the end of the wire and it smooths it out. It's a great tool, and it just makes sure that there isn't any junk down here that's going to kind of rip into your ear when you slide this into your earlobe, and that's definitely a good idea to use one of those. So I'm looking for the bigger ones here. Although maybe we want graduate. We want to do more of a dramatic graduation. Let me pull these ones out and we'll kind of take a look at it here. What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? Okay. So I'm thinking I'm just gonna take these off this thread now, kind of keeping them in order, and then I can cherry pick my favorite ones out. Like this one is awesome. It's so pretty. Each one is unique, which is really cool. I'm just gonna pick like a few in about the same size and sort of like similar coloring. And then we can keep kind of graduating up to some smaller ones too, because I don't think I'll use the whole strand here. But if we can get some kind of similar ones, just eyeing it out here. Looks like we got some smaller ones on this side here. Here we go. Beautiful. These are so pretty, you guys. I love the shape too. Dakota Stones, what is this shape called? Let's see, that's probably maybe a couple more bigger ones. The center here. It's kind of an odd one here. Here we go. Okay, so I think that's pretty good. I'm gonna pull these ones off the table so they're out of our way. Dog tooth, is that what you call them, or is that really the name of the stone shape? Flat chip. Now that sounds that sounds a little bit more like it. I was thinking, can't imagine that's what it's called. But you never know. You never know. And Dakota Stones, if you need to rename this for some reason, we've got a name for you. And pull some of these guys off too, which I think are gonna highlight this so beautifully. And then I think, again, I might try to add some of these in, although those are so close in color, they might be clashing just ever so slightly. I also had these that I pulled out, which could be kind of cool. Something to think about. Let's get our bone wire. So I'm using our Softlex beading wire. This is the medium diameter, and it's a 10-foot spool, but by all means we sell it in much bigger spools as well. And like I said, it's the bone color, so it's kind of a beautiful cream color. This is one of the like unsung favorites, I think, in the Softlex color line. Kristen and I used it a lot in our book Seed Bead Revolution, just because sometimes you just want like an off-white. You don't need like a pristine bright white, and the creaminess of bone can go with so many different things and look really, really lovely. So I'm just gonna string these with these guys in between and just kind of see what happens. Like, do I want one? Do I want two? It's kind of the fun. If you've never seen one of these design challenges before, the fun of it is just kind of seeing how things look together. And sometimes we make something we really love, and sometimes we don't, but we learn along the way. So let's just put a few on so we can kind of see what this looks like, if we want to do more than one or if just one is plenty on these beads. Look at how pretty. Really lovely. Those colors, it brings out that beautiful color in the stone to have the hematite. Now these little metal guys, they said are a plated hematite, and they said that they actually tried to take the plating off with a coarse nail file. and rub to mar the finish. It was so difficult to take it off. So these are gonna stay these really bright, beautiful color, this really bright, beautiful color for a long time. Really pretty. And they add just a little bit of a pretty metal finish to the design. And let me string a couple more beads. I'm kind of liking it with just that in between. I mean, I know I like things that are kind of more simple, but I mean, to me that looks just really pretty with just that little tiny bit of metal. Let's try 3 of them just to see what it would be like if we did multiples. It's going to space it out further, so it's not going to be quite as close together. And yeah, I think 1 is plenty. Like 1 looks really nice. Barbara, you should buy my new book, Seed Bead Revolution. It just came out last August. You could also buy Show Your Colors, which was my first book, which is available on the Softflex Company website. Both of them have lots of good beginner information. They go through the different diameters of wire, how to crimp, and a lot of just beading basics. And I just have to say again, for those of you who joined me after the beginning, these holes are so awesome on these beads because the Dakota Stones really takes the time to make sure that they are drilled properly, which is fantastic. Really helpful for all of you beading designers out there that have been frustrated when you can't get your diameter of wire that you need through your beads. You need to be looking at Dakota Stones for beads, for sure. So I'm using a medium right now, which is great for mixing and matching lots of different materials. When the holes are too small, folks end up using fine, which is really for seed beads and very, very tiny beads. And it has such a thin nylon coating that when you get something like this metal bead or this gemstone bead on it, as it spins, it cuts really deeply into that wire and it'll actually eventually snap it. And so, you know, there's nobody that knows more about the importance of being able to put the right diameter of beading wire on your beads than Softflex Company, because it's definitely something that we preach and think is really, really important. But there are so many times where you buy gemstones and they're just drilled so poorly that you can't get the right diameter to fit underneath them. So in that case, I would say definitely take a look at Dakota Stones because they're doing it right. This has been really nice to be able to work with these big holed gemstones that are drilled so properly. Hi Anya, how's Germany today? Well, thanks Dakota Stones. Dakota Stones says Softflex is the gold standard on beading wire. Thank you, I appreciate that. So in my move, I of course don't have crimps. As you guys know, I've been moving into my new house and I don't have any gold-filled crimps here handy, which is what I would prefer to use. Either gold-filled or copper crimps I think would look really lovely with this. So I'm going to crimp this later, but for those of you who've never seen crimping, I'm going to go ahead and do a demonstration just so you can see it. And then I'll finish up this design and take a picture for all of you later on so you can get a better look at it. So crimping is important and there's multiple ways to crimp. I'm going to use the regular crimping pliers today, but I also really love the magical crimping pliers. I just also don't have a pair of those handy today either because they are lost in my big move as well. So we're going to do crimping with the regular crimpers today, which is really important to know anyway. You should really know both ways. So this back side here has a tooth and the front side's round. You're going, if you didn't catch that, I put the wire through a 2x2 mm crimp tube, and this is a Softflex crimp tube, so it's really thick and strong. Normally I would attach to a clasp, come back in again, and in this case I'm actually going to crimp down here on either side of the beadwork so it stays in place on the wire, and then I'll just have the wire come up and attach to a clasp up here. So if you're going to crimp, you're going to go ahead and slide it inside of the bottom hole first that has the tooth, and you'll see you can gently compress. It's going to put sort of a little divot into your crimp tube, and then you round it with the rounder on the top and go around it several times, just sort of tightening it down into a nice little tight crimp. And when you're done, it should look round. It should have like sort of what looks like a little fold there, and it should be cinched into your nylon coating so it's not going to slip or slide. And if you don't like the look of the simple tube, you can always add a crimp cover, which looks like a big open shaped bead. It'll fit over the top, and you can just close it down on top of it. And then you just trim right next to your crimp tube. There's a lot of fuss about having to string the wire back into the beads, but that's really not necessary. And in some cases, people actually end up using too thin of a beading wire because they're trying to fit them back into some beads. And it just isn't, it's not important. It's better to use the thickest diameter beading wire you can fit underneath your beads. You could even go up to an 024 heavy in this case. And in a lot of my designs, you'll see that I have free floating wire, especially on this back end here. And that's because you can do that with Softflex. It's very kink resistant, and you don't have to worry like I'm going to wrap this up in a circle in a baggie when I travel with it, and when I unroll it, you know, it's just going to make a really beautiful straight necklace. So I'm going to finish crimping this up, and I'm going to make our second earring here. But I just wanted to definitely thank Dakota Stones for partnering with me for the Softflex Live Design Challenge. If you haven't checked them out before, I highly suggest that you do. You can go to their website, which is dakotastones.com. Let me find. And they don't sell online, but you can find lots of their products from some of your favorite retailers like Goody Beads or Art Beads, and I'm sure there's tons more if you just Google search for Dakota Stones online. Dakota Stones asks, does the quality of beading wire and crimp make the tail unnecessary? I don't know that it's the quality of the beading wire so much. That is a good question. You know, my experience is so specific to Softflex that sometimes I'm not too sure what is Softflex and what is something else. But in my, there you are, technical difficulties. In my experience, it is that it just isn't necessary to feed back into the beads. So I think maybe it's the nylon coating is a lot easier for crimps to grip onto. It's also really important to have good quality crimps. And so I think people come up with all sorts of reasons and things that they need to do when they're not crimping properly. And that's maybe one of those funny safeguards that people have come up with because they have their crimp slipping. But it's not really helpful anyway, because if your crimp slips and your wire slips out, you're going to lose your beads regardless of if there's 2 inches there or there's no extra wires. So it's most important to use good quality crimp tubes, the right diameter of wire, and then crimp properly. So thanks, guys. I really appreciate you spending time with me today. Thanks, Dakota Stones. I love your beads, and look forward to working with you guys in the future on some other projects too. And big shout out to Jeff. Love you, Jeff. See you guys later. Bye.